Are you worried about Google knowing everything about your life? We're going to talk about Google's new privacy policy today on Lab Rats. This episode of Lab Rats is brought to you by Audible.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is a show where we demystify technology, specifically evil empires that try to steal all our information.
I hate those guys.
They're awful. Well, once upon a time, Google had this slogan, do no evil. And people are saying that perhaps Google is more evil than perhaps they originally wanted themselves to be.
Yeah, it's not so much their guiding principle anymore as just a suggestion.
Right, exactly. So March 1st, Google created a unified privacy policy.
Yes.
And everybody in the out there in Lab Rats land was just getting really scared and concerned. And are they going to steal, the labels on my underwear? And are they going to, know about my dog and all the things that
They know about your dog already.
I know they do. Pictures, of course, and cats. So today we're going to demystify that. We're going to because there is some concern out there. And there are things to be concerned about, and there are things not to be concerned about. And so we're going to demystify for you, because that's what we do here on Lab Rats.
Yes, indeed.
All right, well, let's take a break. We're going to see a message when we come back. Google Unified Policy. Today on
Lab Rats.
Look at Digital Doofus over here.
What?
What are you doing?
I'm reading.
What are you reading?
A book.
Why?
Because it's in my hands and I want to read it.
Well, you could go to Audible and download the book and then listen to the book. And here's the best part. If you went to audiblepodcast.com/labrats, you could download a free copy of Kafka on the Thing.
Kafka on the Shore.
Kafka on the Shore. They have that title, right? So
and I can get it for free.
Okay, so let's review. Lots of different genres, including this one.
How many titles are there?
100,000 titles.
That's a lot of titles.
Yeah, so that's one down. So you go to audiblepodcast.com/labrats and download a free book and do something better for the environment than Ding Dong over here. Welcome back. So Google privacy policy. We know what a privacy policy is, right?
Yes, it keeps stuff private and lets you know what's going to be kept private.
Absolutely. Like on every website out there that's sort of worth its salt, they have it's like a legal document that says what they're going to do with your information when they collect it. And the reality is, even if you don't go to a website and type in your name and that sort of thing, they're still collecting data because your web browser actually provides that information. Like what's the web browser, what your IP address is, which gives away your geographic location, what your operating system is. So all kinds of metadata just by visiting a website. So any website you go to has getting information on you, not highly personalized yet, but potential. So what Google has done, and what all websites do, is they have this policy that says, here's what we're going to do with your information, right? But there's Google Maps, and there's Google Apps, and there's Gmail, and there's the Google search engine, and there's YouTube, and all these things. So what was happening in the Google world was they had lots of privacy policies, like this one. I've got one up here on the screen here, which is policies and principles, they call it. That's from YouTube. But this is actually the new unified privacy policy. They've taken all of those policies, and they've put them all into one, right? So the concern there is that they've changed some things to take advantage of us, the poor consumer. Right?
Uh-oh.
That's the concern.
Yes.
Now, here's what they've really done is they've basically said, we're going to collect your data and we're going to share it across all of the properties that we own.
So beforehand, they had different policies and they didn't share. So you would go to YouTube or Google to do a search and they wouldn't know anything across those different
So YouTube, very specifically YouTube, some of them would and some of them wouldn't. But YouTube very specifically wasn't allowed to get information from other properties.
Okay.
And so they've changed that now. So if you give information to one Google property, they're basically going to aggregate a profile on you, collecting information, what you're searching, things you've typed into your maps, Google Maps, locations, preferences, settings, emails.
Say that again?
Emails?
No, the one before. Settings?
Settings.
You still say that funny.
I still say that. Settings. Settings. And all kinds of information, like if anything that you're going to provide to Google, they put it into one big bucket. And they share it across. So here's the impact on it now. You go to a website about dogs because you found it through Google.
Yeah.
And the next time you go to YouTube, potentially they would show you pictures or videos of puppies.
Right. That's rather benign.
Rather benign, right. But now let's get another layer deeper. Potentially now, you could be going on Google Maps and typing in your friend's street address, and you're typing an email to them, and all of a sudden the correct spelling of their name comes up because you've told Maps how to spell their name and what the street is. And now Google Apps, the Word doc or the document creator, knows that. Right? So now information is getting a little more granular now.
Yeah.
What's your concern, though?
Well, the big concern I can see for something like this is that there was this incident really recently. I think it was Target in the States was keeping track of people's habits online, and they were able to tell that a certain, I think it was a 15 or 16-year-old girl was pregnant before her parents even knew, and they started sending information to the parents because the account was related, and they found out, or that there was like, no, my daughter's not pregnant. What kind of weirdos are you? But turns out she was.
Right.
So with the whole data mining issue on one side, which is Google is especially good at, then some of that information may sort of slip through into other silos that used to be separate.
Well, potentially, right? I mean, anything that you do on the web potentially is going to be available to the Google properties. And then the question is, well, then, especially in the era of social media, Google Plus, things like that, what's going to start to show up in your profile? What's going to be evident, to, especially if you haven't set your privacy settings yourself very carefully? What's going to get exposed? So there is a liability here, right?
Yeah.
That said, on the flip side, on the pro side, it's going to be useful because suddenly everything's going to be contextualized to your life. So there are these pros and cons. So let's talk a little bit. How do we stop them?
Yes.
Because that's really important, I think.
Yeah, I think it definitely can add benefit to your life, as you say, but some people just don't want that information going across the particular application they're using at the moment. So.
Right. So, I mean, if you're really concerned about Google collecting all your personal information, you should ongoingly clear your history, right? So Google actually has a repository where it tracks all this information. And if you go to google.com/history, this is all the web searches that I've done in the last 24 hours, and it goes back pretty far. There are things like images that you've searched. Be careful about this. Oops.
Yes.
Because if you've searched anything that's a slightly surreptitious, like, husky oil, people might know, or Google know anyway. But if you've seen anything on the web that might be salacious and you found it through Google, it'll be here.
Yes.
News, shopping, sponsored links, videos, that's your YouTube usage. Maps, where you've been, your addresses, things like that. So if you want to get rid of this stuff, simply log on here to your Google account, go to google.com/history, and you can either say pause, right? Or you can say remove all the web history completely. Now, it doesn't stop Google from collecting information in the future. If you say pause, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it any further. But they're still going to capture some information. If you do a Google search, they're still going to capture the information using cookies and things like that. So you cannot completely stop them from getting information on you.
Yeah, they just won't be using it in the way that they are threatening to use it right now in terms of this new unified policy where they share it between platforms.
Right.
But they still have it.
They still have it, but there's going to be pros and there's going to be cons. Now, one thing, if you really want to protect yourself, is get rid of your Google account. Don't ever log into Google and identify yourself. It means you lose access to Google Docs. It means you lose access to some key features that you might love.
That seems a little bit extreme. I suppose what you could do is you could just log off of Google before you start doing any searches if you're concerned about that.
You could.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of overkill, though. I just think it's like, yes, you have to be concerned about this. You have to keep an eye on it and that sort of thing. But the reality is that we're in an era where people are collecting information on you. Be aware of it. Be careful about it. And it's not going to hurt you in the end. Honestly, I don't believe it's gonna. Now, because not everybody's gonna have, be pregnant and have Target share information with mom and dad. That said, there's potential there, so you have to be aware of that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it just is sort of a little bit freaky though, thinking about it. If you're one of the people like me that occasionally puts on a tinfoil hat and starts worrying about conspiracy theory sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the information that you had there and then the suggestion you have, just being careful is about the best you can do, because they're gonna have the information anyhow.
That's right. It's an awareness thing. Maybe you could stay off the web. You could not use Google products. I mean, that's the other thing to do. But then again, the Yahoos of the world and are all going to be doing this kind of thing. I mean, you visit labrats.tv. We have a privacy policy on there. We capture information, on you, your gender and your location, that sort of thing. We're not going to be evil about it. We're not going to share it with, people out there in Lab Rats land that you don't want to share with.
Or are we?
But we have a privacy policy, and any website worth its salt has a privacy policy, and you should be aware of what they potentially can do with that information.
Yes.
Simple as that. All right, good. Any other thoughts about that? Now, you're a bit of a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, sometimes, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just seeing all of these things. You can imagine an era where Google has basically their fingers into every aspect of your life and knows pretty much everything about you. It's back to the era of, what Orwell was speculating about, Big Brother, except we've sort of put ourselves right there by using all these services willingly in some way. So I mean, that's fodder to stoke the conspiracy theorists, but I don't know if we need to worry about it that much.
I got it. I'm a little less paranoid about it. Anyway. All right. Finally, I wanted just to demystify a couple of myths about this. First of all,
okay.
Google is not collecting more information, right? They are also still going to track you. So those are the two things that you have to be.
Yeah. So it's just more about coordination rather than collecting more.
Coordination,
okay.
And they're going to still track you even if you are logged out of your Google account.
All right.
Two things. Okay. All right. So I guess that's it for this week.
That is it for this week.
If you want to find out more about this episode or see our previous episodes, zip on over to labrats.tv. Of course, we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/labratsland. Check us out on Facebook. Facebook.com/labratsland. And if you want to send us information about yourself, you want to tell us you're a fan, if you want to send us a picture, at some point we might reintroduce the picture time we used to do in our format. You can email us or also show suggestions at...
I'm not sending you any damn personal information at labrats.tv.
Because of our privacy policy?
Yes.
Yeah. Or more simply...
feedback at labrats.tv.
There you go.
With the tinfoil hat on, though.
That's right.
Do it that way.
I want to see pictures of you with tinfoil hats. All right. That's it for us. Nothing else to add. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
We'll see you next time.
Are you ready?
Okay, it's good, fine, it's good.